we've placed our steel beams in the basement level, underneath the first floor framing, where we kind of think they are. There will be a little bit of fine tuning, of course. But this is basically what we have right now. And now we want to put the floor joists in, which will carry the loads of the floor. Most of the loads will be transferred to the bearing wall loads will be transferred to beams below. And so if we go over to the first floor now, I'm working in my structural plan now, my first floor, and I've changed the view range. I'm sorry, I've changed the view range to -6 inches. So if we take a look, I'm cutting through at -6 inches. So if we take a look at this section, what I'm saying is I want Revit to cut below the first floor by 6 inches. So this red line represents where the cut plane is. I'm cutting through, so I want to be able to see my rim joists, and then I can see my beams below that. So I'm cutting through there. If I cut above that, then I wouldn't. If I cut above the first floor, I wouldn't be able to see that. So if you look at the view range, whoops, if you look, I'm not sure why that's happening. Oh, yes, because I'm not in the first floor plan. So if we look at the view range, I'm saying the associated level is the first floor, but cut 6 inches below that to show me what I want to see. And so now it's time I can see the bond or my rim joists all the way around, and I can see where I've placed my beams. And now I want to do a little bit of cleanup because I know that this guy's not going to sit on top of the basement wall there. So I'll bring him back and try to line him up with this, okay? And let's do the same thing here. We'll bring this guy back all the way to there. And let's put in our first structural system. So I'll go over here to my structural system. I'm going to put in a beam system now. And let's take a look at what the constraints are of the beam. Well, it's 6 feet spaced apart, and we really want our floor joist to be 16 inches. And we want our beam type to be 2x12s, not the W12. So we're going to say 2x12s. Okay. And so the work plane is the first floor, but the floor joists are 3/4 of an inch below the first floor. So let's put this in at -3/4 of an inch because we have the plywood subfloor is right at the first floor level and it's 3/4 of an inch thick. So that, I think that will work. So let's pick an easy one first of all. I'm going to sketch, and so now let's draw it. I want my beam system to come across and rest on top of the beam, but go right up against my bond or rim joist. And I missed that by a little bit, so I'll just zoom in there real quick and clean that up. I want it to stop right there, okay? And then I want it to go all the way from here down to here, okay? So what I've just done is define the parameter or the perimeter of the floor joist. This doesn't look right, so let's see if we can clean that up. Yep, that looks better. That looks good. Now, these double lines represent the direction of the framing system. So if I wanted the framing system to go front to back, then I would say beam direction, and I would click on a line that goes front to back, and now my framing would go front to back, but I actually want it to go side to side. So that's the direction that I want. And let's just say okay to that and see what happens. There we go. Look at that. Put my floor joists in there. They sit on top of the beam all the way at this edge. They sit all the way at this edge on the beam here. And then they only go to the rim joist. Can't go beyond that. Okay, so if we take a look at that in 3D, that's what I did. I've put in our our floor joist in the first spot there, which is right there. That's what we want to do. So back to the first floor. Remember, we're working in the structural plans now. Let's put in the next set. So structure, beam system, sketch it, and I'm still going to draw the perimeter instead of having Revit do it automatically because it doesn't seem to think the same way that I do. And now I want these floor joists to sit on this side of the um, beam. And we're going to come to here and down to here. It's not going to sit on this beam. And then we'll go back up to here and I'll just clean it up real quick and align it over here with this face. Whoops. Okay. So now the direction of the floor joists are going to be in this direction. And I will say okay to that. And now look at what we have. Now, the truth is that these guys really are going to be aligned with each other. So I want to try to pick this system, and I'm having trouble doing that. So let's go to that section and see if I can pick that floor framing system. And if you click here, you can see the dashed line. And now I'll go back to the first floor. And what have I selected? I think I selected this over here. So I want to select this. So we'll go back to the section 6. And this is the system that I want to select. See that dashed line? That's how I'm selecting the system. I'll go back to the first floor. And I've selected that system. And I just want to move it so that these guys line up with each other. Okay, see, that's because that's really how it would be constructed. There wouldn't be that gap. So that looks good. I'm going to save it. And now I can see that I really don't have anything here that's going to support this end of these beams. You know, these floor joists rest over here and I have nothing to support them and I have nothing. So right now they're really just floating in air and I'll have to come back and fix that absolutely later. So let's put the third one in now. And I looked at the, let's hide this. We can hide this too. And I just want to see which is the shorter span because I'm saying in my framing, I think this is the shorter distance. Now we could measure it here too. Let's go from here to, whoops, well, that's all right. Let's do it again. We'll go from here to there. And I have my dimensions turned off. So then I'll just use the measure tool. The distance from here, I want it to go in the shorter span. So that's 20 foot 8 3/4. That's a lot. And over here, the span is 20 foot 8. I know that I have a basement wall underneath here that's going to shorten that span. So I'm going to still go front to back. So beam system, sketch it. Let's try a rectangle this time. I'm going to go from here, maybe to here. Let's see how that lines up there. No, I'm going to extend that to this guy right here. Okay, that looks better. All right. I want it to go front to back, so now I am going to change the span. So we'll go over here, beam direction. I'll click on this line and say okay. And now look at it, goes from front to back. Okay, so far so good. Let's put this one in because that looks pretty simple. Structure, beam system, sketch, and we'll go from right here all the way down to right here. Now I know that's a front to back, but right now it's looking like it's going to span side to side, so I'll change my beam direction. I want it to go front to back. And look what happens. Look how quick that puts that stuff in there for me. All right. Now, this side, I know it's going to go side to side. I might want this beam to come all the way down to here. Whoops, that didn't work. I might want this beam to come all the way down to here. You might be hearing some noises in the background, and I apologize for that. But I'm on my boat right now, and it's a windy day. So we're hearing some of the creaking of the, well, actually what we're hearing is the lines that are attached to the dock that are making some noise right now. I'm pretty sure you can hear that in the background, and maybe you can even hear the wind in the background as well. But I apologize for that. Okay, beam system, sketch. Well, we can start this way. All right, I did pick the line, so we'll just come across to here, down to here. Now I want to go all the way over because I want my floor joist to rest entirely on that beam. And they're going to come back to here, and then they'll come over, and they'll come up to here. All right. Now, the direction I want it to span is side to side, so I'll say okay to that. And now I have another one to put in, which is going to be perhaps the easiest one to draw. Structure, beam system, sketch it, draw a rectangle. I want it to go from here all the way down to which way? This is going front to back, so it's not going to rest on top of that beam. It's going to come in this direction. No, that might not be correct. I might want it to be going side to side. I think I do want it to go side to side, which means that this guy, I'll use the align tool. And we'll bring it all the way over to there. And then it won't rest on that. All right, that looks good. It's the right span direction. We'll say okay. And now I've got another one in there. So what have I got left to do? I've got two more systems to do, and then I know I have a couple of spots that I have to fix or fine tune. And that's not uncommon to have to go back in and fix a few things. So I'm going to go from here all the way down to here. The direction right now, the double lines are going that way, and I want the direction to be this way. So I'll just simply click on this line right here. There's my double lines, and I'll say, okay. There's my framing for that. And then this is all going to be, I can draw that all at the same time. Structure, beam system, sketch, and I'll just draw the lines. So I want it to go all the way to here. It's got to rest entirely upon the beam, and then it'll come down to here, over to my rim joist. Didn't quite get the end of it, so I'll come back and align that in a second. Let's see if I can get that. And I can go all the way over to this guy. Up to this beam, it's going to rest on this side of the beam. So we'll come across here to the rim joist. Let's put it right now, we'll put it up to here, and then I'll come back in and fix that. What should I do here? I think I'm okay with that. I'll clean it up a little bit, and then I'll have to extend the beam. Now, again, notice which direction the floor joist is spanning with these double lines. I want to change the direction, so I'll click on that line, and then I'll say okay. And that's pretty close, but like I see, I guess we're okay here with these. This is going to need some attention. This is going to need some attention because there really isn't anything supporting the ends of these beams or floor joists. And I've left an opening here for the stairs. So that looks pretty good. Let's take a look at it in 3D. There's what I've done. You can see here, these guys don't have anything that they're resting on. And I'm going to double or triple up these 2x12s, and that might support the end of this. But for the purpose of this demonstration, let's spin it around a little bit. Yeah, for the purpose of this demonstration, there's our first floor framing. I've got support underneath the bearing walls above, and I've got my floor joists in there to carry the floor loads themselves, and there may be some uh, walls that sit on top of that. Will generally they're not bearing walls, so they can rest on top of these floor joists without having any kind of steel beam underneath them. But there's a little bit of fine tuning, and we'll talk about that later on. But anyway, this looks pretty good to me, so we'll stop right here.